Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about our industries. In the previous lesson, you have learnt about our agriculture. Like what part of the land is being under agriculture and what sort of crops are grown in India and what are the types of crops, food crops, cash crops, everything, all the things, horticulture we have learnt in the previous lesson. Right. Now in this lesson we are going to learn about industry. So what all the industries we have in our country and what are the types of industries. Now let us see in this lesson. The resources provided by nature fulfill most of our needs. Many of these resources, however, cannot be used directly. Can we use wheat, cotton, tea leaves, logs of wood and iron ore directly? No, we cannot. This is because they are raw materials. Now what are the resources we are getting it? Either it's air, water, whatever is it. We are getting it from the nature, all the resources. With that, aren't we fulfilling our needs? Yes, water we are obtaining from the nature and it is used in a number of ways, right? And the air that we are getting from the nature for breathing, right? Now, few things like few resources that we obtain from the nature cannot be used directly. Like for example, say wheat. What are we doing? Wheat can we eat directly, children? No. What are we doing? Wheat is being changed into flour, wheat flour, and you are preparing chapatis or whatever is it. Cotton, we are making cotton garments. Tea leaves, logs of wood and iron ore. So these things we are not using it directly. In some or the other form, these resources have been changed and we are using it. So these resources when they have changed into another form, those they are called as the raw materials. Okay. We need to convert them into finished goods such as bread, cloth, tea, furniture and utensils before we can use them. So since this log of wood, if I have a log of wood from the tree, can I use that directly as a table? No. What are we doing? We are converting that log of wood into a wooden table and then we are utilizing it. Raw materials are converted into finished goods in a factory. So where are these raw materials have been converted into a finished goods? Finished goods and raw material and log of wood. Wood is a raw material and table is a finished good. So wood has been changed into a shape of a table. So table is a finished good, wood is a raw material. Tea leaves, raw material, tea powder, finished good. Got it? The process of making a particular product using machines in a factory is called an industry. So what do you mean by industry? The process of converting a raw material into a finished good is called as an industry. So in order to convert a raw material into a finished good, we need a machinery, right? All the things cannot be done humanly, right? So we need the machinery in order to convert this raw material to a finished good, and that process is called as an industry. Raw materials, machines, power supply, human labor, money and transport are some things needed to set up an industry. Now in order to set up an industry, so what are the main core things are needed? First, the raw materials, then the machinery we require, the power supply. Without a power supply we can't even run an electronic machine, right? And human labor. Somebody need to check how the machine is working and somebody has to work on that. So we need a labor for that. And the most important thing, vitamin M, money and transport. So these are the things that are needed to set up an industry. Now types of industry. So on the basis of size, is it a small, medium or a big? On the basis of a size of the industry, these industries are classified as three types. Cottage industries, small scale industries and large scale industries. So what are the three types of industries we have? Cottage industries, small scale industries and large scale industries. Now let us learn about each and every industry. Cottage industries. Cottage industries are set up by people in their own homes. A few people work with simple tools and use raw materials materials available nearby. So these cottage industries simply they can be easily set up in our home itself with the easily available resources like making a jute bag or stitching the clothes or stitching a bag, school bag, whatever is it. And these are like we don't even require a huge place to set up. And these cottage industries doesn't require a big machinery. Some such industries are, what are the cottage industries we have? Weaving a cloth, extracting oil, grinding flour and making toys, baskets and leather goods. So these are the cottage industries. So the goods that can be prepared at home, such industries are nothing but the cottage industry. And these industries doesn't require a huge space. We can set up in our home itself. So like we have, what are the industries related to that? Weaving the cloth, like sweaters with the woolen cloth, we generally weave with the woolen thread, and extracting oil, grinding the flour and making toys, baskets and the leather goods. Next, small scale industries. Small scale industries employ a few workers and use small machines. As the name suggests, small scale industries. So these small scale industries needs only very few people and small machineries. Cottage industries not at all require a machinery, but small scale industries require small machinery. People work in a small factory. They make utensils, garments, hosiery items and electrical and plastic goods. So what small scale industries generally include? Utensils, preparing, manufacturing the utensils, garments, hosiery items, electrical and plastic. So these are about the small scale industries. So small scale industries are such industries where very few people are employed and the small sort of machinery will be used. Large scale industries employ thousands of workers, quite opposite to small scale industries. As the name suggests, large scale industries. It means these large scale industries employs thousands of people and they use huge machinery to prepare the finished goods. A large number of goods are produced with big machines, so they have huge machinery. Highly trained workers are needed. Here the workers whoever have been employed, they are supposed to be well trained. Large scale industries include, so what are the large scale industries include? Textile mills, iron and steel plants, oil refineries, chemical plants, factories manufacturing automobiles and railway equipment. So huge, very huge goods that we have to prepare it, that it can be processed in the large scale where huge machinery is used and more number of labor have been employed. Large-scale industries are generally located in areas where raw materials and power are easily available. Power consumption for the small-scale industries is very less. So, in order to set up a large-scale industry, a huge place, an ample amount of power supply and easily available resources. So, these are the three things we have to put in mind in order to set up a large-scale industry. Most of them are located in or near big cities. So most of the large scale industries are located in the big cities because there we get all sorts of raw materials. Now here you can see the table they have given. Major industries in India: cotton textiles, silk textiles, woolen textiles, iron and steel, jute mill, sugar mill. So all these sort of industries are available in India, and where are the places they located? Table 2.1 lists the names of the few places associated with these industries. You can see the table where in which place what sort of an industry is available. Besides the industries mentioned in the table, some other important industries are, apart from the industries that are mentioned in the table, still we have few more. What are those? Cement, fertilizers, paper, machinery and chemicals. So, the industries related to cement manufacturing, fertilizer manufacturing, paper, machinery and chemicals, these are also come under the large scale industries. That's about the lesson. So just if we take a gist, now almost what all the resources we are getting it from the nature, we are fulfilling our needs. But all the resources what we are getting it, we cannot use it directly. So what are we doing? We are changing that into a finished goods. So the process of converting this raw materials to finished goods using an equipment or machinery is called as an industry. And basing on the size of the industry is of three types: cottage industries, small scale industries and large scale industries. So cottage industries, generally these industries can be set up in our home. Like mostly women empowerment will be there in the cottage industries. So what are the cottage industries generally? Like grinding a floor, or weaving the baskets, preparing the toys. Okay, so these are the cottage industries, and these cottage industries, they doesn't require the machinery at all. Okay, the next small scale industry, as the name suggests. As the name suggests, very few people will be employed in this small scale industries, and the machinery what is being used is very small. Okay, so what comes under the small scale industries? Like preparing utensils, hosiery, items, electrical and plastic goods. So these, they come under the small scale industries. Coming to the large scale industries. Simple, large, quite opposite to small scale industries. To set up a large scale industry, a huge place is required and huge machinery is required, and sufficient amount of power supply is also needed, because huge machinery requires plenty of power supply. Without power supply, a large scale industry cannot be run. Got it? And in order to set up a large scale industry, the resources are also important. So all sorts of resources, they can be available in the cities only. Therefore, we find most of the large scale industries have been settled in the big cities itself. Got it, children? So this is about the lesson are industries. So just read the lesson after listening to the video, start underlining the new words, make a note in your notebook, okay? Then start completing the backside exercises, okay? So we'll meet in the next class with a new lesson. Till the time, stay safe and stay healthy, okay? Bye-bye. Thank you.